Summary about why data readiness is important for the success of Africa's AI ambitions. Right now, we're having a challenge with African data, which is mainly limited digitization and then also underrepresentation in global data sets and data silos. So I'll explain this later, but these are just the key terms that define the challenge we're facing. And then the approach to solving this will be governance, data standards, and dedicated initiatives for curating quality data, anchored by the FAIR-R framework. And this will be able to help us close the gap. A key data point that's going to be important is the fact that 80% of an AI project's timeline, or up to 80%, can be spent on just preparing data. That's how important data is. So yeah, with that, we move on to the next slide. The definition of data readiness. AI-ready data is data that has been properly collected, cleaned, and structured so that machine learning algorithms can process it efficiently. And beyond formatting, you need to annotate the data with sufficient metadata to support explainability and reliable performance analysis. So, okay, this is where I'm going to explain some things that are not contained in my slides. You have three types of learning when it comes to artificial intelligence. There is, what's it called? Yeah, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning has to do with labeled data. For example, you're trying to teach a model how to identify dogs, and each image of a dog has been labeled as a dog. So when you have labeled data, it's very easy for your model to learn what it needs to do. Reinforcement learning is different from supervised and unsupervised. With reinforcement learning is by trial and error, and after each trial by your model, it's going to either receive positive or negative feedback. So the important thing here is that most of data readiness applies to unsupervised learning. That's why you see they mentioned metadata. Unsupervised learning is a type of learning that occurs when data is not labeled. And this is often what you need to use with qualitative data that is not really easy to classify. Um, I'll give an example. Let's say you want to train an AI model to make predictions based of social media posts. You won't know exactly what information to put in an Excel sheet about these social media posts. You won't know what's important for the AI model to learn about and predict. So you kind of have to let the AI learn by itself in an unsupervised setting. And the way that you make this data easier for your model to digest is by using metadata. So that's just why they mentioned metadata here. Okay, next slide. Then you go into this FAIR-R framework, the FAIR framework. Originally, the FAIR framework was used for scientific data. You want to make your data easy to find by other people that want to find it after you. You want to make it accessible to them. You want it to be interoperable. That means you have similar standards so that someone can use your data and they won't have to change a bunch of things about it for them to use it in their own application. And it should also be reusable. Originally, this framework didn't have to do with AI, so the second R was added for AI readiness. And this is the kind of, sorry, let me relate this. This is the kind of data that you're going to need. These are the kind of characteristics your data should possess for it to be ideal, for it to be quality data for you to train your AI model with. So yeah, that's that. Then there's the data preparation pipeline. When you have data, you should clean it first. You need to normalize it and make it standard, deduplicate, make sure it's traceable. If anyone has created a Google form, you know that this is something you really have to deal with. Sometimes you ask someone to put in their phone number, and then some people add the country code, some people not add it, some people put zero at the beginning, some people not put it, some people fill the form 2 times, all that kind of stuff. So data really needs to be cleaned for it to be ready for AI. And that is a problem we're facing in Africa. Wait, sorry. Let me talk about that later. Ish. Uh-huh. On this slide, we are facing problems in our data landscape here in Africa. Hmm. Like I said, first of all, the analog dependencies. This is what I mean by, this is what I meant earlier when I said insufficient digitization. A lot of very important sectors of government do not yet even have digitized data. So you can't expect to train an AI model that needs massive amounts of data when the data you do have is still written on paper with pen. For example, wait, should I use an example? Even at the place I'm doing my internship right now, a lot of the things they do, they're still carrying files up and down when we're in the computer age. So this is a problem. You need to have a lot of data and you need it to be clean. So when you don't even have data in computer form in the first place, it becomes hard for you to say you want to compete globally with other AI countries. Then there are linguistic gaps. Africa has over 2,000 languages, and there is not that much digital text or speech data for many of these languages, which makes it difficult for you to train AI models that cater to these people. There are data silos and fragmentation. If I, okay, when you say something is siloed, that means it is on its own and not accessible to other people. So this contradicts directly with the A in fair. The data is inaccessible in Africa. So you need to create some frameworks to deal with this. Then finally, infrastructural constraints. I think this is kind of apart from my topic, but yes, we are lacking the infrastructure to process large scale data. We do not have the high performance computing, and we're lacking the data centers to store this data here in Africa. Also, we have energy problems. So, yeah. What are the implications of low data readiness for AI development? Poor model performance. AI is made to make predictions, not assumptions. If there isn't proper data fed to train these AIs, it will make mistakes. It will not be able to understand people's accents and it will fail in the local context. There can be bias as well introduced. When your data set has some underrepresented groups, the resulting AI is also going to be biased, of course, and this could erode public trust in AI and cause some discriminatory outcomes. There's an erosion of sovereignty. If, because of our insufficiency in data readiness, we are not able to train the best AI possible, we will be dependent on other models, like how everyone is dependent on ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc. today. And our AI will not be adapted to our local African needs. Then finally, the lack of data readiness is a barrier to innovation. Imagine you want to start your AI startup today. Instead of going ahead and starting to work on your AI model, you're going to have to spend, like I said, up to 80% of your time looking for quality data to even train your AI. And this is a problem. So these are some potential solutions to kind of get this. I looked at the AI strategies of Kenya and Nigeria. Kenya tackled it better, Sha. So some ways to improve data quality are to strengthen your data governance, to establish standards and quality assessment for data to improve integration and sharing of data, and to expand data creation and curation efforts. So the Kenyan AI strategy spoke about creating standards to unify data across the board, create standards to encourage the sharing of data among different national data locations where data can be found, I guess. They spoke about governance on data. And then they also spoke about initiatives to curate quality data. I guess this could involve seeking out data that, seeking out digitized text in local languages, things like that. But it's all just strategy. Anyway, I think that was the last slide. So, in conclusion, while AI models evolve quickly, well-governed data sets preserve knowledge, stability, and trust. For Africa to lead in AI, we need to understand that data is essential infrastructure and invest in cleaning, in the ingestion, cleaning, and lineage required to sustain a high-performance Afrocentric AI ecosystem. I'm sorry for reading the slides, but we must really understand that data is very important for training AI in Africa, and right now, our data quality is lacking. So, yeah, that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Daniel. This was an awesome presentation. I learned a lot from it. Sincerely. I learned a lot from it. Before I open the floor for questions, please can you just speak us over
We
the
can
last
hear you.
slide?
Sorry, I can hear you clearly.
Oh man, can you hear me better now? Better now?
Okay, partially.
Ah, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Please, can you take us to the slide before this slide?
Okay.
Before this, first to the last slide. The one where you spoke about yes, this potential solution. I think you kind of rushed through it. If you can take us through it gently again.
Oh, where did my tab go? Sorry. Uh, Wait, can you still
Quickly
see my
uploaded
screen?
to. Yes, you can see it. If this is your
Okay.
screen, I don't think so. Is somebody presenting? I'm seeing powering the future of artificial intelligence. Sorry, I mistakenly clicked the button.
Okay.
Uh,
Try. Okay, let me share my screen again. Window. Ta-da. Um, can you see my screen now?
yes.
Okay. So you're asking about this slide.
Yes, if you can just walk us through it gently. I was trying to digest what you were saying before you moved to the next slide.
Okay. Well, I I shall check the source material. Okay, can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So these four pillars four potential solutions to improve data quality for AI training are pretty much entirely based on what Kenya set out in their national AI strategy. So, hmm,
I'm not trying to quiz you. Like, I'm not trying to put your like if you could just explain. Like I heard you spoke about standard an initiative to curate quality data, then I think you just move to the next slide. Like if
Yes,
you just
yes.
focus straight, yes, just more slowly.
Okay, okay, okay. I understand what you mean. Mhm. Ah, okay. Well, I'll try my best. But while learning, I the first thing here was that they decided to strengthen data governance with oh, how will I even explain this?
You know what? Just read,
Hmm.
don't just read this like
I'll get back to you. Hey. But are there any
Okay.
other questions?
Yep.
yeah, we can take
I
for that.
hello.
Hello?
Yeah, please,
Okay.
please.
Thought this was my network. Yep. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
concerning gathering data, as we all know that data is, I mean, essential for this AI move and wave. Okay, so one thing that I noticed in, I don't know for you guys schools, in my school, Akure Futa, we use a lot of like when other level students enter, when you are writing letter, let's say you want to change department, when people writing results to rectify results and letters to rectify, like all these letters, all these, what will I say now, all these data, they are too in form of paper, and you also mentioned that in your presentation too. So I feel like institution and higher institutions like school, federal schools, all these, I mean, institutions are they are places where you can get real time data because I mean they are like, let's see, I can't remember the amount of people in my school again. I think you are close to, is it 10 million? No, 10, 10 million is too much. I think 10,000 already to get too far. Okay, I think we are about close to 14,000 people in the whole school. So imagine getting data from, I mean, from this kind of 40 people. So my own is like, it's focusing on schools now, schools, institution as a school. Like, are there means to like digitize, I mean, collecting data from students? I mean, partially we have portal and everything, but it's still not effective in terms of managing our data very well. There are still a lot of papers in people's office. Like, if you enter lecturer's office like this, you think they are selling those papers. Like, they are too much. So, is there a way to like minimize this? Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. So, I believe what you're asking is, can digitization be encouraged in public schools? And I think that just comes down to the management of the school. I also attend the university, but things are relatively digitized. We have a functioning school portal, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. They have an IT department and everything. And both of the schools, both of our schools are in 2026. Digitization is around. I'm sure both of our vice chancellors are aware of digitization, but then it just comes down to them, the people at the top, being willing to see the need for it and invest in it. Someone has to approve the funding of an IT department to design a better portal and to stop, okay, a portal that would allow the digital submission of all these letters and everything. And sometimes there's a lot of bureaucracy in Nigeria and all that kind of thing. So it just comes down to these incentives for it. And maybe if there's a set out AI policy for Nigeria or a foundational one that first attempts to increase digitization, then we'll see more digital methods being used in federal universities. I hope that addresses your question in a way.
Yeah. I get the challenge you have in Nigeria. Yeah, I got your answer. Thank you. But I don't know. I
Well,
just wanted to add. I feel like all these digital signatures will also help go a long way because most of the letters, the basic reason of why we are writing is so that someone will sign. So that after someone will sign, submit it, and then, as you have said, bureaucracy too. It affects a lot of things. You can before a letter will get to where it's supposed to get to, you first go through like three people. So all this kind of stuff affects. Yeah, I got your point. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank
In
you
the
very much,
absence of
Daniel.
no questions, I will stop sharing my screen.
All right, all right. I learned a lot
Yeah, allowed.
from your present. This is my first time hearing about the care framework. I've not heard about that before. This is my first time like training about data preparation pipeline. I've kind of known it, but I didn't really know that these were some of the steps that were involved in it. So that's, and then I was able to like, I think I and Jordan were having a conversation some time ago before the policies we started that we're talking about this supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. And I think I was mixing up reinforcement learning and supervised learning together. So I just wanted to clarify. So is it reinforcement learning that you said is trial and error with feedback, or is that supervised learning?
Yes, that is reinforcement learning.
All right. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, Bright was with us a few minutes ago, but I think he dropped off the call. Maybe he has network issues. But then, in the respect of our own time that we are here, please, give. Would you like who's presenting for the subgroup, you or Jordan?
Yeah, Mr. Jordan or engineer, whatever the case
All
may
right,
be.
all right.
Okay, I'm coming. Just give me 1 minute.
Oh, Bright is back. So, Bright, I don't need to have any question for Daniel. He just finished presenting. If you're able to get it, some part of his presentation. Jordan, I'm waiting on you, sir.
Don't really. Yeah, you can see your screen.
If your mic is on, I don't know, are you guys presenting like both of you? Or it's just me? Jordan, can I see your screen again?
So you removed. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm coming.
stop sharing now. Maybe try sharing again.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute. This thing is loading up.
Okay.
Okay, the slide is loading. Sorry for the time wasting.
No, no issue at all. Yep, yep.
Okay,
You can see us.
so today we're going to be talking about a topic that is not really spoken about in the field of AI. Like many times, we talk about other things like the data needed, maybe resources, GPUs, but nobody ever really talks about the energy AI infrastructure actually takes. Even though plenty people think if you go online, many people talk about the water that is wasted in US on data centers and GPUs just for cooling. But for something to be generating that amount of heat energy, be consuming high amounts of water, must obviously be also taking up serious amounts of electrical energy also. So that's what we're going to dive into. So right now, in order to maintain or run an AI data center, you need to be running over 100 megawatts of continuous power. So for context, since it's very hard to process, what 100 megawatts is 100 million watts. And to compare with something, that is maybe running 150,000 houses on electricity constantly. And each of those houses will be running their fridge and fan and television that they'll be watching. So imagine having, that's basically 450,000 or 150,000 fridge, 150,000 televisions, and 150,000 fans all running at the same time throughout the whole day. That's exactly what Claude is doing. That's exactly what ChatGPT is doing. Every popular AI model, that's the amount of electricity they're actually consuming at a go continuously. So before you can even bring AI into Nigeria, you have to consider all those things. It's really a struggle for us to even push out, maybe in Abuja, to push out that power consistently throughout the day. That's why they take let's bring it, take it, bring it. So to talk, and for AI models, we cannot just be switching them off, bringing them back on. It doesn't work like that. I think it has to be running throughout. And the moment it goes off, you have to now incorporate that boot time. And no matter how fast AI is, since it's so many GPUs combined, the boot time is actually very long. Anytime they even need to do maintenance, they prefer migrating. Maybe they always have more than one, should I say, server. So they will prefer migrating to the other server. They'll perform maintenance on the main server before migrating back. So they don't even boot down. But if we're in a country like Nigeria and they're taking lights, that actually affects it. Talk more of the users being inconvenienced. Imagine you're generating maybe a file for a report at work, and halfway through it just goes off. Then the next thing you see is notification of 30 minutes for boot time to come back on or something. Okay. So AI actually uses 10 times more than traditional computing facilities. So I think we already know that.
Next slide. Okay, so what exactly does an AI data center need? It needs four things. The first is high performance GPUs. That's thousands of specialized chips working non-stop to train models and serve users. Second is a reliable electricity grid supplying tens of hundreds of megawatts continuously. Any interruption is catastrophic. And this interruption, even planned, obviously nobody will plan to interrupt, but let's say you already know they're taking light at this time, so you boot down your model to boot it back up later. That in itself is also somewhat catastrophic. Talk more of if it's unexpected. So third, massive cooling systems. All those chips generate enormous heats, and water-intensive cooling is what keeps them from failing. And fourth, renewable energy integration, because the environmental footprint of this power is a growing concern. The chart on the right, sorry, the chart on the right just shows how dramatic the jump is from 5 megawatts for a traditional data center to 120 megawatts for new generation AI facilities. That's 24 times more than what we're used to. So, and the reason why we even need to integrate renewable energy is because of the SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals. So I think we have been working on that for roughly, I'm not sure, but for a while now, we have been working on creating a more sustainable earth. So if you are bringing in these things, it cannot just be like the industrial boom that we do not care about the environment. We're just trying to push out new technology. Now, anything you're doing, you have to think about the environment first and how what you're doing can destroy the environment around you. Okay, next slide. Okay. Now let's bring this closer to home. That is Africa. For African countries, including our own country, Nigeria, this energy reality is a major barrier. Frequent power outages, limited generation capacity, and weak transmission networks mean we simply cannot support energy-intensive AI infrastructure at the scale needed to compete globally. But the solution isn't to give up on AI, it's to recognize that AI policy must go hand in hand with energy policy. That means investing in renewable energy, building smarter grids, and developing sustainable data centers. Because if we don't, the risk is stark. Africa becomes a consumer of AI built elsewhere rather than a producer of our own. So I think I've already said much about that. So the bottom line is this: sustainable AI begins with sustainable infrastructure. Better algorithm alone won't get us there. Can't just code up better AI. I think AI is one of those few softwares where the hardware, like ironic enough, the hardware actually matters more than the software in this case. So what we need is reliable electricity, efficient cooling, very emphasis on efficiency, and clean energy sources. Governments formulating national AI strategies must treat energy planning not as an afterthought, but as a foundation. So think one last thing, when we say renewable energy, at the end of the day, even if we rely on solar, we still need good way of storing the energy at night because the sun won't be up throughout. So we still need an efficient way of storing that energy so it lasts well enough overnight and can begin to pick up again the next morning. So the storage of the energy is as important of even how we're extracting the energy. And wind turbines are just not efficient enough to produce the energy needed. I think maybe combining them hand in hand probably still needs storage. The next possible source will also be water dams. Those ones are actually more steady. So maybe if you have a hybrid that combines these three, might actually be able to run an AI model without having to store batteries. But because of how volatile this is, I can't just risk it going off, the storage is still going to be very important. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Please, any questions? Okay, Daniel.
Hello, good evening, Jordan. My question is about energy for African countries. So okay, let me actually just specify Nigeria. Since Nigeria specifically is still struggling with power, we still don't have strong transmission of energy, and this is causing us to not have light. Uh, is it even feasible for us to be talking about developing AI at all? Or is there some kind of intermediary way we can start working on AI and data centers while we don't yet have good power infrastructure? That's my question.
The best thing to do right now is actually to, okay, let me give, there are two solutions to this. The first one can actually, should I say, subscribe to another company's hardware or build our infrastructure in another company and maybe paying them some fee. Like, just NASDAQ now, their mission control departments, their satellites is out of commission. And for a whole mission control department, you can't function without satellites because you're the one that sources weather, all those things, agricultural disruption or whatever. So I think it's London. So they're like kind of subscribed to London's own satellites and get their own information. But obviously to be exposed to London, but that actually doesn't matter for them. So that's option one. Option two, we can actually build a power system that is outside the national grid. That's why I said so much on renewable energy. But you just invest a very strong amount into it, maybe an extra 30% on just, okay, it might actually be more, maybe an extra 50% on just maintaining the power infrastructure. So that's why I say if you can combine solar, wind turbines, and dam, that is hydroelectricity, if you can bring them into a hybrid while having good battery or power storage, you should be able to actually run this system continuously. But at the end of the day, there's no good substitution for stable electricity. That will always be the best. But in our current situation, the next best option is either building a renewable power structure that is not dependent on the national grid, or we have to opt out to build the system in another country and be subscribing to it. I don't know if that answers your question.
It answers my question very well. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other question?
I have a question.
Someone is raising his hand.
But
Okay, go ahead.
okay, so sorry. I think my background is noisy, but I'm in a constrained environment currently. But I don't know if I'm audible enough.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, my question. Uh, I would like to say this before I ask my question. Um, Personally, I've always thought renewable energy. I mean, to scale and to meet up with power demand. Let's say within Africa, within some of these countries, let's remove the capital that is needed to establish these structures to power up these data centers. I personally think um, it's 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 it, it has been an alternative but it's becoming essential, not really for just African countries, but I mean generally, people are. It has not been a major provider of electricity, but it has been feasible enough to, when we are talking about moving over to renewable energy, you've seen the trend. My question is, I mean, like for you, do you really feel like um, the renewable sources of energy, even when combined, I'm like removing what has to go in to build these things, especially within Africa or whichever country, do you feel it is going to be a good, or do you feel it's going to be worth enough? How do I even put it? As it's do you feel it's going to be like a major thing to keep these data centers running, or to keep the AI infrastructure running for a very long period of time? Do you think it's going to be feasible enough? Personally, considering like the state we are in Africa, we've always been known as a continent that does a lot of consumption, and if we're not consuming, we are bringing in profits for other companies or other countries that are outside of Africa, even within ourselves. You can use cement as an example. I'm just saying, do you really think these renewable energy sources can be long way over a period of time?
Yes, I actually think so. It just at the end of the day, AI is actually a booming market. I don't know if you heard of yes, I don't know if you guys, I'm talking to everyone now. I don't know if you heard of this shoe company that even turned into an AI company. Like you can just see how those like going from shoe that's not even in the tech field or in the science field is as far as just the general market, and you convert just straight to the leading technology. And that's how I think it multiplied the company's value by like 100, if not higher. So at the end of the day, if you build an AI startup, maybe one for Africans that's Africa centered, the income, let's say if you get investors or you decide to go the public route and give out IPOs for people to buy your stocks, you can actually get that initial investment that will be good enough to build a system that will last. The only problem is in this kind of case, maintenance is not something you can look at by the side. And we're very fond of that. So maintenance in this case will be of the highest importance. That's one way to go about it. The second way, subscribing to another company's maybe system doesn't really mean you're stuck like that. You can start like that. You see how your market is going. Let's say you turn over a higher profit margin, even higher than your expectations. You can now start building a way to just power your own alone. And at the end of the day, if AI can actually bring maybe enough money into Nigeria, it might even be worth investing back into the power grid and getting it up and running and functional. Because I think there's one tweet I saw. People were talking, I think one guy, he just said that Nigerians are not rich enough. Or, yes, let's use that word. Nigerians are not rich enough to have 24/7 electricity. I mean, personally, I thought that was an insane tweet. Once I was talking to one of my very smart friends, we're not talking about how like Nigeria is actually capable of giving full light. The problem is that the people that currently run our electrical whatever or the distribution company, they are running at somewhat a loss. So in order to actually give us 100 or increase the lights, they have to start turning profits. And they're only running at a loss because of the price we pay. It's the same thing that happened to MTN. That's why they boosted the sorry, not MTN, all global networks actually. That's why they actually boosted the price for their data because they have been running on a loss for a while. And now that loss is just no longer sustainable. So they had to boost their own. But luckily enough, let's say the boost was not so crazy. But for our light infrastructure, that boost might actually just not be sustainable for a lot of people. So that's another thing. But if AI can bring enough money into Nigeria, that might actually turn out not to be a problem. And it also give jobs to many people. So yes, that's also another point. So I don't know if I answered your question.
You
Thank you
did
very
you
much,
did
Jordan. I like us to be conscious of time too. So please let's try to make it snappy. Bryce, please continue to your comments. I see give Sandy space talk.
you did answer my question. It's just that I was also considering the fact that it is relating to the government in context. Um, well, it's okay that way. I take that answer and I'm satisfied.
All right. So just before Gift speaks, I'm just putting this out there. I think this availability of energy for AI is worthy to be investigated. So right here on this call, we are creating another topic called alternative energy for AI infrastructure. So if you are interested in taking that up over the coming week, please do let me know. If you worked on energy this week and you'd like to come up with like work on that over the coming week, that would be awesome because it's just building up on what you have done already. But I know that we have given answers, but I think it's if we look into it, look at the numbers, look at the existing technology, like I think I've heard about what's it called? Some people that even cool their data centers with a fluid. So instead of using what's it called? Instead of using water, they give a liquid that cools the server faster. So like just let's look at alternative sources for electricity, for cooling, and how renewable energy can be incorporated. So please, before the end of the meeting, if you're interested in taking that up, kindly let us know. Yeah, gift, please, you can go ahead.
First off, to address that, I'm interested and I'm interested. I've seen it now already to go into it. Yeah. So, guys hear me clearly? Just to be sure. You can just react. Can you
Wait,
guys hear
gift, I
me
didn't hear
clearly?
what you said.
Oh, wow. Can you guys hear me clearly now? Can you hear me clearly?
Hear you. Me, I can't just hear you. Can you just
About
repeat
now?
yourself? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I was saying that concerning what you addressed, the question you were asking, that I was saying that I would like to continue on that. I mean, I worked on energy last week, so I'd like to continue on that just to clarify that. So yeah. Now to the reason why I raised my hand. Yeah. Concerning now the energy part, we worked on it together. I'm not asking a question. I just like want to like add to what he has said so that I mean to give more clarity. Part of what I think might also solve this issue is read about the news. I'm not sure whether it is like is officially legit. I mean, data centers in waters. I don't know how safe and how efficient it is to put data centers in water. At least that will remove, I mean, the cost of cooling. And then now for the electricity generation, you can now use the water. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. To now power your data center still underwater. So that's like making hydro. I mean, is water that powers like let's say most percent of our energy in Nigeria from Kenji Dam and everything. So imagine that kind of big dam setting. We can now like immerse a data center in it. That will remove cooling costs and also now bring about, I mean, power generation. And I also think concerning this, I mean, off grid, on grid stuff, I basically think putting our data centers together with the grid light might be like a great risk. Well, for start, shall we can put it there, but I mean, going forward, putting data centers together with the grid light that the whole community is using is a great risk. So I would just say that if you want to venture into your own AI startup or anything, I want to build your data center, find your own efficient source of electricity and build it for yourself. Don't put strain on Nigerian grid. Our grid is not strong enough. Before you know it, it's might collapse. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to add as part of the solution to yeah.
Thank you very much for that gift. So I just wanted to mention something. I'm going to expatiate on it later. But can we start seeing how we are now brainstorming useful solutions for people? Imagine an investor is outside the country and they are planning to build data centers in global majority countries. We are beginning to examine very useful considerations for such investors. And this is a call for us to prepare our LinkedIn posts. Please prepare LinkedIn posts. We have examined a lot today already. I have learned so much already, like my notes. I hope we are actually taking notes and we are not just like listening for fun, right? Because I think this is something I'm really looking forward to the presentation next week on alternative energy sources for data centers. And we can even go more niche, like alternative sources for data center infrastructure in African countries or global majority countries. That would be like, I think that would be another very succinct part, because I'm not saying they don't have energy challenges outside the country, like outside the continent, but if you can really come down to that African context and global majority context, I think we're going to find it very, very useful. Then we could also look at, I'm just thinking, we could also look at, like Gift was saying, people that want to deep data centers underwater, people that want to put data centers in space, like people that want to dip the chips inside the fluid. Like, what are the alternative sources of cooling these chips, of generating electricity? Like, what can actually work, right? So just as we're wrapping up on this presentation, Daniel, please, you can speak.
Oh, hello. What I wanted to say was just adding to the point about whether Nigeria, sorry, well, it was actually Africa, whether they can actually use renewable energy as a long-term source of power for data centers. One thing I wanted to say is that I've learned at my place of internship that fossil fuels in Nigeria are here to stay. At least gas is here to stay. The Nigerian government is investing a lot in gas pipelines, and we are a gas producing country. So we're going to continue to use at least gas to produce electricity for our national grid. Even if renewables come in, they will still be alongside what we've already invested in. For example, I don't know if you've ever heard of pipelines like OB3 and AKK. There are lots of ongoing pipeline projects that are going to bring gas all over the country. So we're definitely going to keep on using it to produce electricity. Yeah.
So that's like an alternative source of energy for data centers if they were to be developed in Nigeria, right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
like, are we also looking at the side effects? I mean, I'm just asking. I'm not sure. I think natural gas has side effects. That's why US are like, okay, is it natural gas or coal? I don't know, Sha. So one of the US government, Sha, they are trying to migrate from one energy source to another because of CO, is this CO2 emission, Sha? Carbon emission, Sha.
Yeah.
So because of that,
Yes. Yes. Exactly. This also ties into gas again. The three fossil fuels, the main ones are coal, oil, and natural gas. Out of those three, coal is the most polluting, most carbon intensive, and gas is the least. So the reason Nigeria is trying to use its gas as much as possible is because it's the least carbon. I don't even know. It's the fossil fuel with the least carbon footprint. So sometimes you call it a transition fuel between fossil fuels and renewable energy.
Guys,
okay,
I
okay,
did
okay.
mention Daniel is a petroleum and gas student. So, when he starts to speak energy, like, it can bring lots more context to it. So that makes a lot of sense. Like, these are things we can consider
like as we start looking at alternative sources of energy for AI. Like, I don't know, but I feel like I want us to turn this into a paper that we can publish on like a research paper. The topic is very, very interesting. I am open to assisting you on it. Like I'll speak to some of my PhD not PhD friends or some sort, but like I know some doctorate holders that could help us review our manuscripts eventually. But I just feel like this is for me. Maybe we can check Google Scholar. Yes, you can use Google Scholar for research, but I have not found a lot of content around alternative energy sources for AI. And barest minimum, if we don't publish a research paper, of course, it's something we can discuss on LinkedIn and get people's contribution. So yes, very awesome presentation. Today has been great already. So let's have the last presentation from Bright. So please, Jordan, you can stop sharing your screen. And just as Bright is sharing his screen, I enjoyed the presentation today, especially the second one. I feel like it could have been more in depth. Like, I don't know. It feels like it was just giving some basic information, and it was really the explanation that Jordan was giving that was kind of fleshing up what I was engaging with. Bryce, please, you can share your screen. Right. So please, let's try to, I know maybe we didn't have a short of time, but let's try to work like ahead of time later so that we can really deal with the topic enough. Right. And please, our slide guidelines. We do not follow slide guidelines for this slide though. Eh? No follow slide guidelines for this slide. Please, let's keep to the slide guidelines. We are trying to cultivate a standard. Bright, please share your screen. Are you able to? Bright, can you hear? Ash's mic was unmuted recently. Let me see again. Bright, are you there? I tried calling him yet. Or can you guys hear me? Is it my network?
I can hear you clearly.
All right. So let's see. Maybe he has network issues, but he has been here forever. So I'll just leave the call and try to call him. I hope it doesn't break my internet. I think you can hear us. Please share your
Steven,
screen.
1 minute, please.
Hello? Hello? Hello, Bright.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, am I audible? Sorry, am I audible? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Your voice is very faint. Your voice is very low. We can hear you, but
Okay,
very faintly.
okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Okay,
More
it's
clearly.
still faint, but it's better.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? More clearly.
Well, 70% is coming up.
Okay, I think I'll just have to work with this for now. So, is it clearer now? Okay, I'm coming. Is it clearer now?
Yes, it's quite clear.
Yup,
Okay.
90%.
Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. This would work. 1 minute, please.
Oh, sorry, I was cut off for a bit. Sorry, it's Bright speaking because I can't hear me.
He's not speaking.
Okay, I don't know. Does he have network issues or just hold on for him for a bit. Hello, Bright speaking.
Not sure. I guess it's network.
Sorry, you said this. Bright, maybe you can
I said I
try
guess
leaving the.
sure. Like guess it's network.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can try leaving the call and joining back. But I still member is not here too. Let's see. I was able to present last week. I hope he's able to do so too today. But if you can hear us, please let us know. Alright, looks like your screen is coming up now. Yeah. Maybe you should not put your phone in landscape mode. It's easy for you to change tabs. Okay, so as we are waiting for Bright, we have Ezekiah with us. Ezekiah, I want to put you on the spot. So we have Jason. Let's call Jason. We have Jason with us. So I know you spoke about working on, but I think we should don't go to landscape mode. Just use your screen portrait this way. Can he hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can hear you.
so you can easily switch tabs if your phone is or his network is. You can present on your phone.
All right. I would work with
Do you
that.
think the network is stable now?
Uh, I'm in a place where internet connectivity is a bit down. Generally, we
Uh,
have
just go
issues.
ahead.
We have issues here. Okay.
Just go
Um,
ahead. I can zoom into the screen.
my team, that's me and my colleague in the subgroup 3, we worked on lessons from the EU AI Act. Okay, so I
Sorry,
think
we can't hear you. Can't hear you clearly.
okay. More clearly. Can you hear me more
Yeah, I
clearly?
think it's sharp.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Okay.
better
I
now.
I was saying my team, that's me and my colleague, we worked on lessons from the EU AI Act, and I wanted to drop a disclaimer that we in Africa, we are still around strategies and I think policies, but majorly we haven't like figured out. I don't know within the African context. I don't know if there is an AI Act, though Nigeria is working on one. I think Rwanda might be working on one already. We expected South Africa to do something, but we haven't seen much of their responses. Okay, so the AI Act is the first of its kind around the world. It is to regulate AI. They took they took they took how's it been they took a risk based approach to develop the AI Act. And many people thought initially that the AI Act was to cause, how do I put it, to cause a restriction, like a major restriction or some sort of ban on AI generally. But
But if you are speaking, we cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
We cannot hear you.
Mm, I wouldn't want this to take too much of our time, and I also really like to listen to his presentation. What should we do? Any suggestions? Because this network issue is lingering for so long.
I think um, let's just give him like 3 minutes.
Uh, okay, I think he's left the call. If he's not back by 6:35, we'll just have to start wrapping up, as we call it, a day. All right, James is back. Hello, right? If you can hear us, please confirm.
I can I can hear you. I can hear you. My sincere apologies. I
Uh,
can hear you. Mm, sorry,
uh,
I got
please,
disconnected again. Okay,
please continue
so
to.
all right, so I was saying that I don't know if I was done with the abstract before I got disconnected, but the abstract was to establish the
Okay.
fact that there are lessons that need to be learned from the EU AI strategy, considering the fact that AI is not just a continent restricted technology, it is global. So you would need a somewhat similar, though it has to be unique, but a somewhat similar, should I say, a governance or regulation? Yes. So as we develop our AI Act, as we continue to progress with our AI strategy, we need to ensure that there is a level of harmony that works continent to continent, nation to nation, so that we don't have companies. It's majorly the private companies. You don't have companies trying to figure out everything that works for whichever country or continent, and by the end of the day, you're having regulations that are multiple, not giving the necessary environment for all these for things relating to AI to really thrive. Okay, um, so it's really ambition without structure. Okay, for when I say ambition, I'm not just it's not like a child saying I want to be a doctor and then doesn't have the structure. That's not what I mean. I mean that there are a lot of things that has been said, okay, but we are talking about, when we talk about structure, we're referring to two things basically: timelines, and then how like the capital that is needed for this project. So the AU 2024 Continental AI Strategy sets a clear ambition, okay? Harness AI for inclusive sovereign development. But now the gap is the amount of countries that are involved in this AI strategy or that have developed their AI strategies, and the, the ones, and we are seeing something that has to do with structural architecture, things that have to do with policies, and things that have to do with finances, and some of the regulations. Some of them have not been taken care of properly. So basically, the EU took a risk-based approach to develop their AI Act, and it is not to constrain or to stop the innovation that is coming with AI. Actually, it is to caution more specifically the high-end risk point of AI usage or AI development. Okay, things that have to do with really highly sensitive information, regulations on how this AI operates within Europe. Okay, so we are going to be looking, because we need to really understand, because that's the beginning of the lessons that we do learn from the AI Act. Okay, so it is this is how categorized the risk for AI generally. We have from the minimal risk, we have the limited risk, we have the high risk, we have the unacceptable risk. If you want to refer to the minimal risk, we are just talking about AI-enabled games. Okay, now we have things like chatbots for the limited risks. We have things like human oversight. Okay, mandatory conformity. So it's this high risk. I think.
Okay.
Okay, this high
You're still
risk.
on
I
the
think it has
abstract.
to do.
I see the risk.
Oh, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I think the slides did not
Yes,
change.
you bro. I don't know if you can. Okay.
I don't know
Just go
if
ahead.
it's.
Just go ahead. We'll try. It's probably the network.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Don't
All right,
worry.
my apologies.
Yeah, please let's try to
Okay,
wrap up so
so
we can call it.
okay, the unacceptable risk are things that have to do with our biometrics, things that have to do with social scoring and manipulation, surveillance, things like that. Okay, so the EU model, it it's it gives a frame to what is being expected of the players, the key players in AI generally, and it gives a sort of, should I say, penalty. Okay, so we have penalties like 7% of global turnover for prohibited practice violations. Um, it also has how it tracks its progress towards implementing their AI Act. Okay, and this is not really telling when it comes to how the EU, sorry, the AU and various African countries are really heading, like their take or their way of approaching AI generally. Okay, so um second, thirdly, all right, they did look into how, like, they looked into the chain of consumption, from the people who develop the models to the people who deploy the models to the people who use these models, how this AI Act affects them. And we also have how they track for the more general usage of AI within Europe, how they enforced, or the timeline that was used to enforce the the act, which was around I think it began August 2025. Okay. We also have the general timeline that was actually used after the establishment of the AI Act. They had to consider, because many companies, I think there were a lot of things that were going on during this period. So they did give a specific period of time, year in, year out, so that they can work with that timeline in line with this key AI players. So we have from August 2024 down to August 2027, um, the different parts of the AI Act that has to be enforced. So these are the things that the African continent should be looking at, not just, though our part is to, basically for now, is to develop this infrastructure, get it running. But also, if you're looking long term, you would need all these really key um, points to be made explicit, because it is something that has affected many of our sectors, right? So, what do we recommend for Africa? Africa should adopt classification in its national AI laws. Okay, they should legislate a two-track framework, an obligation that binds high risk AI development, and a voluntary code of conduct. That is exactly what the EU AI Act provides for different key AI um, players. Okay, so establish accountability and extend its regulatory scope to foreign foundation models. Okay, because majority of EU's technology, it's from outside, even AI. So this AI Act did not really just affect things within Europe. It also affects things like companies that, or players that are outside of Europe. They have to just follow the AI Act. Okay, so regulate GPAI explicitly. I think that would be referring to general purpose AI. Okay, then also have, like, our AI Act should have a time frame for. So these are some of the lessons. They should be able to adopt access. Okay, like a posture which is
assessing and mitigating some of the regulation, like, how do I even put it? Like, when AI is being operational, if there is any issue, or even occasionally you assess some of what is happening, and if there is need to put in or to enforce any of what the act says. Okay. I think then basically, when we talk about our strategy, our policies around AI compared to what the EU did, is it's all about structure. It's all about structure. It has really served as a missing ingredient. We have we it's the EU AI Act is not in direct comparison um with what we have here in Africa as strategies, but it is something that we should look into in the nearest future. It's just that we don't have. I mean, for example, Nigeria, we don't have access to. I don't know if we do have access to the bill that is supposed to establish our act around AI, but it's something that needs to be looked into. So we would, I mean, have this robust structure that can, and a time frame that can handle what is being done. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Bright. Do we have any questions for him before we go ahead? Any questions for Bright? Any clarifications to make? All right. I don't think we have any questions. And I know this has been a stretch already. We spent almost 2 hours here. So this is what is going to happen, right, Bright? Can you hear me clearly? Hello, Bright.
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Yes. I think you've done quite detailed work with the AI Act, right? Well, this is what we're going to do. This next week you would present this again, maybe within a shorter time frame. But in just and there were some network issues here and there. So I don't know if you are able to, if it's something that is possible, if you get another SIM or a network that works better in your vicinity, or if you're just able to do something about the network, but that's just by the side. But I would like us to just listen to your presentation again next week when our brains are quite fresh and we're able to like assimilate. But I learned a lot, but I don't think I was able to engage with what you were sharing as much as I'd have wanted to. Right. So that's just that for that. Please, you would present this again next week. It's not like you're going to work on it again this coming week, except if you feel like there's something you still want to look at this week. Then you can work on it again this week. But aside that, you can pick another topic for this week and you just present this again next week before we go ahead. Right. Do you have any questions for Bright? Any clarifications for Bright? Anyone? All right. I don't think so. So I just have some things to share with us before we call it a day. Let me check my notes. Right. So I just like to remind us, just a closing brief before we leave, that we are the product of this policy review. Like it is the person that we become at the end of this policy review. That is actually what we are trying. Like that's the product, that's the result of this policy review. The slides, the documents, the presentations, they are just one of many things, right? We are the product of the policy review. And as we engage on social media with the things we are learning, we are also cultivating and nurturing our own personal brand as we go ahead. We have touched on a lot of things. Bright has taken us through the EU AI Act. Jordan and Gift took us through the energy requirements for building AI infrastructure. And Daniel also took us through data preparation and data cleaning for AI development. I have personally learned a lot from these presentations. And like now, the goal of creating this team is that it multiplies the strength of everybody. Now it took somebody like a number of hours to sit down and actually study and come up with these presentations to teach us, right? So now I don't have to sit down for such number of hours to learn everything that they are going to share with me within 10 minutes, right? I don't need to sit down and be reading the document. And that's the goal of this. So please, whenever other people are presenting, even if it's not us, let's try to listen and be as attentive as possible, because like that's how we shift, that's how we grow, that's how we improve. So a number of us are not here, like two more people will be joining us next week as they'll be done with their exams. So I'm really looking forward to having them back with us. Ezekiah should have joined us this week, but will join us next week. So that'll be three more people. That's Banji, Jasmine, and Ezekiah. So yes, and Jason. So I just want to encourage us to to see how we can tailor our research to policymakers and to business leaders. So when you're asking what's the so what, like what's the point from all this that you've shared, right? Try to tailor it to what policymakers you find useful, what business leaders you find useful, and try to be as apt and as concise with your words. Right. I understand that we're using AI. I see Gift was on hold for a bit. I'll just quickly brief what I said. I said like 3 more people will be joining us next week as they'll be done with their exams, and that we should please see how we can tailor our research to policymakers and business leaders, because we're not just doing this because it feels good. We're trying to build ourselves for a particular competency, and to show our work online, right, we have to show work that people can find useful. So when you're doing your research, when you're doing like, ask yourself what's the point from this now? What's the lesson to be learned? What's the behavior to be changed? What's the decision to be made? Right? Just ask yourself those questions as you are doing your research. I love the kind of presentations that we are seeing already. And if this is the second week, like, can we imagine what the 16th week will look like? Right. So let's not quench our energy. So I just wanted to ask us, what has the time requirements been like for us over these past 2 weeks? Like on an average, how much time has this policy you demanded from you in a week? I'd like to hear from us. Please, you can mute your mic. Anybody? Can we see him?
Is okay. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. I would say that the time requirements is like 4 hours of actual work per week.
Then like 2 hours of meetings, right?
Yes.
All right. Gift, what has it been like for you? Thank you, Daniel.
Well, I feel like if you are not designing slide, Punisher, but doing the slide, I think the last week that I did the slide. The slide took me like, I think that 4 hours was what I used for the slide. I don't know, probably because I was new to creating slides for that BT. And also for the reading and doing actual things, it took me like, I'm a kind of person that I cannot just sit down and read documents for like 5 hours. I'll get bored. So I do it every day, like at least 1 hour, 30 minutes, starting from the like Tuesday. So I read small fragmented. I might just be free. I'll just open the PDF and read, and then and YouTube videos. I like YouTube videos a lot. So I just can enter YouTube and just search for topic related for content related to my topics, and then I watch or Google Chrome and others. Yeah, that's all.
That's awesome. Please be sharing the YouTube links with us, like how Daniel shared with the Tunani initiative stuff now. Please be sharing it with us on the group chat as you are finding them, so that we can also watch. Jordan, what has time requirements been like?
I think I'll agree with the last person that spoke. It's around that range too.
Like, if you were to sum it up, what number will you put on it?
Let's say 6.
Okay, okay. Bright, what has time requirement look like for you?
Though I have not been like putting time to the time requirements whatsoever. I think the last present, like when I was looking into Nigeria's national AI strategy, I did read the strategy like before I started working. Maybe it took me a few hours, but this one, like this week, the EU AI Act is 114 pages. I think 100 pages plus, and after 20 pages, I realized that it could be it can it is it's a bit, how do I even put it? Let me just say I downloaded two lengthy YouTube videos. I think they are 2 hours plus, so I was able to use that to, because they looked at it comprehensively. That was exactly what I did. Some of the
Wow.
documents are not interesting because they are laws. They are not novels. So it, it's, it's that's how it has been for me. If I should place a time on it, maybe if you sum it up, maybe 5 hours, or less than, far less than, maybe. I'm just saying because sometimes I just communicate my ideas, key points, like ideas. We go back and forth with AI before we finally draft something, and then yes, that's what I've been doing because I'm very constrained where I am currently to network and some other logistics. Should I put it that way? Yes, yes.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to see, when we were interviewing, sorry, when we were discussing, I promised us that this will demand like 6 to 7 hours of our time, and I wanted to see if we have kept our promise. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just wanted to know if how intense it has been for us. So I really appreciate us showing up here every week. Like, it encourages me, and I just see the stuff we are building, and it's awesome, right? So I just want to encourage us. It will not be nice for us to be doing this much amount of work and it's just going to the backyard, right? Please shout on LinkedIn, disturb them on LinkedIn, make noise on LinkedIn, make noise on your status. Let people know that you have started eating policies, I have started eating infrastructure. Use those technical terms that we have been using to talk. HPC, a fair framework. Speak the grammar for them. Let them know what you're engaging with. Right? You just might not be able to tell who has an opportunity around the corner for you to engage with. And if you make a post, please share the link on the group chat. Tag us, encourage us to go and engage with it. So, Bright, just one more thing, please. Next week, I'll try to take note of it. But next week, please remind us that you have to present first before we listen to the other presentations. And I want to encourage us to get to the meeting on time. If we get to the meeting on time, we'll start on time and we'll finish on time. Right? I try to keep the time as much as possible. So if we're able to get to this meeting on time, we'll be able to begin on time too. And yeah, just a brief rundown. We are the product of the policy review. Please see how to make your research applicable to business leaders and policymakers. Yeah, so that's all. Jordan, please, you can speak.
Please, I wanted to ask if it's possible to move this to Saturday instead of Sunday. I don't know
Mm,
if
mm. So the reason why I did not want us to use Saturday is because like conventional weekend engagement, exactly on Saturday evenings. So I was quite concerned that it might be clashing with a lot of commitments, like people have to go to church and things like that. That's why we thought Sunday, and then with the votes that we did too. Yeah, that's why I thought to keep that Sunday evening because usually there's usually conventionally not a lot of engagements on Sunday. I hope
okay.
the sacrifices you have to make are not so much.
What about Friday?
That's also speaking to time, right?
Okay,
Like
no problem.
yeah, like time now. Like how we're going to finish the work before before the Friday. Just looking at it. But then if I don't know, I'm guessing like this time is not very convenient for you. If we can campaign around and see what other people's timeline looks like, then we can see if we can actually shift the meeting. Or we try to be a little bit democratic with the time and everything. But yeah, if we get more people that would like us to shift the time, of course we can do that.
Okay, no problem.
All right. All right, guys. So please, our LinkedIn post, let's start working on it. Like tomorrow, please let's try and post the post out. And please tag me in your post as much as you can. Send the link of the post to us. Add screenshots of your slides. We look at a lot of admits this weekend, right? So please let's do well to share. Let's do well to share. Also, the feedback form. I would share the feedback form. It's still the same feedback form we'll be using. Just give feedback for us. If your team member did not work, if your team member worked very well, if you were a team member that did not work, let us know so we can know how to move. Because and then for the topics, please from your research, if you still want to dig deep in the topic you worked on this week, please let us know in the group chat. If you want to pick a new topic, please let us know in the group chat. You can check through the list of topics that I sent recently. I still have many more topics because I drafted those topics from like after the reading that I did. I saw the different areas that we could still learn more about. So that was what I used to draft some of those topics down. So just as you are doing your reading, if you find other areas that you would like to investigate, please drop it on the group chat. Drop it on the group chat. This is very, very dynamic. And if you are seeing people that you like to speak with, people you like to reach out to, names that are mentioned in the document you are reading, just send them connection requests on LinkedIn, send them messages, just interact with them, engage with them. They don't bite, right? So, guys, that will be all. That will be all. That will be all. Yeah, Daniel, I think we should work on some content strategy, something. We have to, we have some work to do. Just coming to mind now. Thank you very much, guys. Do have a good night rest. Do we have any questions before we call it a day? Any clarifications to make before we go?
Jordan is raising his hand.
No, I think this is end of before. Or I used to raise my.
No, it's the one of before. Sorry.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope you are having a great time as much as I have. If you have any suggestions on what we can do better, what we can do different.